Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. It's a happy occasion to be at a quality summit, and quality people, as they are known as dry people and unglamorous people, etc. So I was just wondering whether the good morning response will be a quality response or a lackluster response. Can we do it one more time and tell people outside in the hotel how good morning can be said? Good morning. Good morning. That's better. My privilege, my honor, my very, very pleasant task to welcome you all. Welcome Dr. Kumar, who is one of the most wonderful person behind the quality and excellence story of Maruti. Those of you who do not know, he is the person who has been responsible in setting up the whole system. And it's not for nothing that Maruti keeps on coming out winners even when he has moved on and has started advising and other many companies, but Maruti continues to enjoy the kind of customer loyalty that he has been hugely instrumental in creating. Mr. Ratan, who is the youngest professional around I have seen, quality professional, and every time I kind of interact with him, he is something who can leave some wonderful thoughts behind in a very commonsensical, very jovial, but very impactful manner. Brings out the insights which are very difficult otherwise for professionals who think that they have arrived. So he always brings us back to earth. Deepak, my friend from BMG, Naresh, unfortunately, who was to be here, has had some family challenge and couldn't make it. But I think Deepak, who is doing the honors on his behalf, will be leaving us with some fantastic insights that their group has been doing and understanding deeper implementation challenges and wins across in the industry. And Pankaj, who is the regional director of the Indus Towers, will be sharing his experiences and deep insights into the journey of quality. And more than anything else, I think it just happens to be by chance that we are sitting here and have the platform to share our experience and learning with you. But I think there is multiple times more experience and knowledge and challenges and sharing and wins which is sitting on that side of the hall. And I think we must thank CII for creating this kind of an opportunity. And I know the charming friend Ajay and his team who tirelessly and relentlessly work. This is the 4th edition of this program and 10th edition of the overall Northern CII program to bring professionals together under one roof, share the whole day about various perspectives and so on. And it is the 4th attempt by Ajay to give me some speaker notes which I am not following. I will share with you my little experience and perspectives on the fantastic journey of Lean and Six Sigma. It is already about 30-year-old program. So many times people used to say during the mid-90s or late 90s when one of the most wonderful deployment strategy or deployment success, which is still kind of considered a benchmark at GE on Six Sigma, which was being talked about that after Jack Welch is gone or GE has reduced it in its intensity, Six Sigma will have a natural death like any product cycle. And lo and behold, if you go to any of the Googleshwar-driven data, the companies and professionals, those who are adopting Six Sigma and taking advantage of this methodology, and then over a period of time combined Lean with Six Sigma, has been stupendous. It is not going to go away because no good things can be attached with a person or a company or a group of people. And it is going to stay, and it's only getting bigger is the experience that we are seeing. And you will relate to it because in my own experience of the last 15, 18 years of this journey being pursued by many friends like you, and I have been blessed to have a network of fantastic people like you to get in touch with and try and understand as to what is happening. This is what is happening in my view. And every one of you in the room will perhaps identify with I am going to say. Six Sigma is benefiting at each level of its adoption. It's perhaps one of the best programs when it comes to individual reward and recognition. Because it is certification which doesn't happen like many other certifications which happen at the organization level. Certification comes to an individual, which is a kind of a direct benefit to an individual. And many of you, I don't know how many because I see a lot of senior people here. You might have at some point in your career, like me, would have pursued a personal certification following Lean and Six Sigma. It's a kind of a direct reward, if I may, which kind of gives you a stamp that now you have acquired a kind of competency and capability, and you are able to understand business issues better, and not only understand them better, you are also able to solve them better because of this acquisition. So some of you, the younger perhaps colleagues and co-travelers on this journey, that is your benefit, which will come by understanding, learning, and then applying into your business situations at an individual level. I have seen that happening to all professionals, those who have gone through and learned this journey. I have not seen any failures. The success rate has been ranging from maybe 20% to 100%, but I have not seen a single failure at an individual level. Now, the second level of benefit comes to those people who are very passionately leading the effort in their own function or in their own silo that they are responsible for. Silo is a negative word, but I'm using it. In a particular organization, big, small, large, whatever. I can guarantee you, and you look around and you may be one of that example, and I have seen those examples. Anybody, any functional leader who understands this game, deploys it even in his own world, although organizations are very complex and there are a lot of intersections which happen. But the success rate of this particular business owner, business leader, functional leader is he has or she has an unnatural advantage as compared to the peer group if the person has learned how to deploy Lean and Six Sigma within his own function or department or in his own, whatever is the control area that he or she has. Then of course, if you are the person who is leading the business yourself, you are the CEO, chairman, president or whatever, that you have control on the entire business entity that you are leading. If you decide that you will sponsor this program, winner organizations get created. Now the challenge also on the other side is I have seen and I have also suffered and I have learned the hard way as the quality people, quality professionals, those who are in charge of delivering, let's say, Lean and Six Sigma into the company, they get enamored and look at companies like a GE or an American Express or a Citibank or even internally or nationally Wipro as the case in point example where an Azim Premji or Jack Welch will sponsor it and will make it a cultural transformation program. They will make sure that their leaders, good leaders identified, getting trained, going back, delivering business benefit, moving on, and over a period of time, a quality DNA based on these special tricks and techniques and capability and competency get developed, and then company performance and everything starts getting done the way it should be done. And that is where I think my request, and from whatever I have learned and sometimes suffered in my own mind and in my heart, I have felt in my early part of the career a little frustrated why the leader is not getting it and why they are not doing it in a cultural transformation way. It is not necessary, and that is what I am bringing back this thought and this offering is, please enjoy the win that you can create yourself, either at your individual level, taking up a tactical project which is a business impact project, improvement project in your own business, bring the benefit to the business. You will feel extremely happy about it because that is what we all feel happy about and professionally satisfied. If you are having more power in the company and you have a responsibility for a department function or a larger area of the organization, lead it. Become an example and a North Star or a role model for your peers to get first envious of you, that why are you so successful by doing it, and then hopefully the others will also follow your path and will bring glory and benefit to you. And of course, if you are the business leader yourself, you can either request or demand or mandate, depending upon whatever is your chosen style, to bring the absolute fantastic cultural transformation of the organization using Lean and Six Sigma. That's the way is my recommendation, my request for you to consider if you think, because sometimes I do believe that we try and get into that kind of a discussion that, oh my God, my company is not doing it and why not doing it. It's all right. Not all companies will become what the others have become by doing it in a particular way. So that is what, in a way, I have seen. It can be done at a tactical level. It can be done at a strategic level. It can be done at a cultural transformation level. It is your choosing, whichever you have chosen to do. What we are going to do today is that we are going to listen to some of the wonderful current realities on the ground of those organizations, those who are using and winning at whatever level, tactical, strategical or cultural level, with the help of professional papers which are being read out, some of the case study which will be presented to you in the conference through the day. Relax and enjoy. It's going to be a fantastic journey. Sometimes when you see somebody else doing it and adopting it and making the win, it reinforces the belief even further, and also may give you some insight as to what can be done at our individual level to make it better for our company and for ourselves and for our teams and for our benefits and advantages to bring the business impact and the business benefit into the company. CII, I think, has been doing a fantastic job in making this platform available to professionals, because typically these are internal programs which are done by the organizations internally. And if you can come together as a kind of a body of professionals, those who have a common kind of a journey which you are doing, it is always so wonderful to meet professionals like you and understand and learn from each other. That is the opportunity through the day. And I think more than the insight, sometimes the learning happens over a cup of tea and lunch plate. That is the wonderful networking opportunity. Please enjoy and take the fullest benefit. Thank you so very much for your attention and for hearing. Thank you. I invite Deepak to please deliver the address.
Okay, very good morning, everybody. I represent BNGI, and we are the knowledge partners to CII, and this is the fourth edition of this Lean Six Sigma Summit, and I think it's been an absolute wonderful journey. Thank you, CII, for the opportunity, and I'm really glad that we have to be here on this stage. So the theme of this conference is building to last. Yeah, so we're really talking about sustainability in the long term, right? So I'm going to try and talk to you on two, I would say, basic concepts in how can organizations keep this sustenance path going, and where does Lean Six Sigma fit into this overall scheme? Okay, so just try and throw some insights on that aspect. So we're going to talk a little bit about ensuring alignment, and then just moving ahead, slightly changing path to talking about how we could look to create the future. 25 years, yeah. Any idea what I'm referring to here when I say 25 years in the context of Lean Six Sigma? Well, so it's really been around this much time when Six Sigma really started, yeah, way back in the late 80s in Motorola, yeah. So it's a good jubilee that we are now seeing, okay. So good to see that. It's been 25 years where both Six Sigma Lean have helped, they've provided a certain structure. Organizations have used these methods and created competence. So we have, I'm sure there are many of us here as Lean, Six Sigma, practitioners, improvement practitioners, and so on. And we've used these methods to really drive home or help solve critical business problems, right? So the question is, it's been such a long time. It has worked. Now the question is, will this continue to sustain itself? In how it has worked in the past, can it continue to do so in the future? Right. So our take really here is that yes, there obviously are benefits and merits in these concepts. Okay. However, I think we need to change with the times, right? And that's where there is a need of greater alignment between what the business really looks at, okay, or is expecting, or is trying to drive home, and Lean Six Sigma. So the big challenge, and I'm sure most of us as practitioners have seen this, is how do we, as Lean Six Sigma practitioners, how do we align with what the business is trying to achieve? Okay, and that's really what I'm trying to talk about here. So one of the key methods, or I would say this is not a new method what you're seeing out here. Okay, this has been in existence for a good 50 years. Okay, but Hoshin or Hoshin Kandri, okay, is one good way in how we could really look to take this ahead. Okay, its literal meaning is, as it says there, shining metal pointing direction. Okay, So very simply, it's about a compass, yeah, that provides direction, okay? So how does this work, and how would we, where does Lean Six Sigma fit into this thing called as Hoshin? Very simply, okay, and I'm not going to go through all what you see there, it looks busy, but broadly what we're saying is, Hoshin is a means of helping you align what the business wants, okay, which is really, we have certain strategy in place, we want to grow, we want to, make good profits and so on. So there are some goals that we have for ourselves. Hoshin is a good way to help you align your Lean Six Sigma efforts with those high-level breakthrough objectives that you've set for yourself, okay? And how does this happen really? So we start with our organizational vision, okay? From that vision, we convert into 3 to 5 year breakthrough objectives, yeah? So the focus here is on breakthrough. What are those big bang objectives, that we want to achieve? We convert those into something which is more tangible in the here and now, which is more short-term in nature. And that's where you look at your annual current objectives, which then get deployed in the organization. We then look to implement them, and then finally it has some of a review cycle, okay? So I'm going to just talk a little bit more on these 3-4 aspects here, okay? And at the heart of this method is what is called an X matrix, okay, which is the Hoshin or a policy deployment matrix, okay. Now, what you see here, okay, it's the reason I guess the X is fairly obvious there, but it has got these 4 buckets where it starts with, based on our vision and strategy, it looks at what your 3 to 5 year breakthrough objectives are, okay, and I guess it's very small there, but if you look at it, it talks about things like, in the 5-year time frame, we want to make sure that our on-time deliveries are at 99%. We are at a 5 sigma level of quality. We are at a certain operating profit level. Okay, so that's my 5-year horizon. I then, looking at this, so that's really the what for me, okay, what I want to do. Based on that, I try and translate to how far do I want to get today. Okay, so the today is really the here and now, which is in this next 1 year. And that's where I set myself some annual policy breakthrough objectives. Okay, so where it talks about on-time delivery, you will see, or it talks about an operating profit, it really tries to tangibilize that to say, where am I going to be on that operating profit level in this year? Yeah. The next is where it talks about the how. Okay, so we've talked about the long term, we've talked about the current term, but how are we going to get there, right? And that's where you start getting into specific initiatives, okay? And this is where Lean Six Sigma has a lot of power that it can hold, okay? So here, as you can see, it talks about certain specifics of reducing certain scrap causes, talking about reducing voluntary turnover, and so on and so forth. So these are certain specific initiatives that I'm really looking to take up. Now, what you will really notice is, okay, and along the way, as you're driving down, yeah, where you'll see there are these certain dots, which is really trying to correlate the 3-year or a 5-year objectives with my current annual improvement plans. It's converting the hows as well with the annual improvement plan. So, you are in that sense, it's fairly integrated and tight. That you're making sure that whatever these initiatives are, they link up with this longer term strategy, that you have set for yourself. Okay, so that's just a thing I want to highlight. And then finally, it gets into the how much, okay? So based on these hows that I have established, I'm trying to establish certain specific metrics that I'm going to measure myself on, which is going to become my indicator to say, hey, I'm moving ahead on the path and it's helping me succeed, okay? It's keeping me true. And that's where, so for example, here it talks about eliminating inventory inaccuracies as one key lever for us, which is going to, help us on our these improvement objectives. You're really setting yourself a specific a target here, okay, which is talking about inventory accuracy at a certain level, yeah, in this case, say 95%, okay. And in that sense, this is how we work to create this X matrix, which gives our Lean Six Sigma efforts that much more focus, yeah, and aligning with what the organization wants to achieve, okay. Now, the big challenge here obviously is that, this is something that needs to be driven from the top, okay. As much as I'm sure in our organizations today, that we generally, you would see whatever projects that we tend to take up or improvement initiatives that we take up, those could be coming from the top, okay? But not always may they be directly aligned with, what you're seeing here. So in that sense, this is, a much more stronger a framework, okay? So that's, what the X matrix looks like. And then obviously at the end you have the who's going to be responsible for each of these, okay? Now, just to give you just a simple example here, okay? So this was of one OEM manufacturer, okay, where they were trying to achieve a certain market share objective. That was their high-level strategy. Their 3-year breakthrough was to penetrate the Asian marketplace, and they had set themselves a goal of saying, okay, $800 million is what we want to get done in this 3-year time frame. In the current year, okay, as they started looking at what their specific goals ought to be, they realized that, hey, the new product development process was where there was a bigger challenge, okay, where it was really taking them 6 years. They said, okay, unless we do something here, that's a distant dream for us. And they said, okay, they set themselves a target to say 6 years needs to come down to a year and a half, right? If I further break this down, and this is where the specific tools of Lean and Six Sigma come in, they actually did a value stream map, okay? And they realized based on the end-to-end NPD cycle, they realized that the engine lab lead time, okay, the testing, was the largest focus. That was one of the key initiatives they wanted to take up. And that's what became the Kaizen focus, okay, where within that, they said the changeover on this test engine from 3 weeks to a day and a half, okay. So what you're really seeing here is that it's the projects or my efforts on Lean Six Sigma are not something that I as a practitioner am choosing. It is really driving down based on a strategic framework that is, existing within the organization, okay. And that's really the beauty of Hoshin, okay. And what also generally tends to happen is what you saw here is still at a high level, at an organizational level, okay. I can also look to, and what generally happens is you tend to drill this down, okay. So you would have it at a function level, at a process level, till such time that it really becomes specific, where it, you can create very specific action plans of what needs to happen, okay. And that's the Hoshin for you, okay. So I would say, and finally in terms of the reviews, okay, if you saw the last part which was talking about the review cycle, there's a monthly and an annual review cycle. You tend to keep an eye on all those metrics, both at an organizational level as well as what's broken down, which is at respective functions. And you keep seeing whether you're on track or not, or is there a need to refine, okay, till you get into the next annual cycle, which is where you start again refining the X matrix overall, okay. So that's one part really, which is the Hoshin, okay. As Vineet was mentioning, okay, and I would say probably to many of us this might seem like an idealistic frame to say we need to start at the organizational level, look at what the strategy is and drill it down. But this can also work if I were to look at it even within the confines of my own function, okay. And I could maybe start at that level and see, using this concept, I could look to further drill down. You will definitely see, it showing its benefits, yeah. So that's the first aspect, okay, and you would see greater alignment, I'm hoping, with this process, okay. The second thing that I want to touch upon is, creating the future, okay. So let me just jump straight in, okay. Organizations need to be ambidextrous, right? What do I mean by when we say ambidextrous? We really have at one end, you're trying to manage the current business, okay? So we want to get better at what we do, right? At the same time, and that's, also driving what our current, profits and revenue and so on are. But at the same time, we also need to look ahead, in terms of creating the future, right? So how do you, do the balancing act, okay? And that's where there's a need for us, to selectively abandon the past. Let's just take a small example here, okay, of Kodak, yeah? I guess we all have heard of Kodak, yeah? Kodak was the leader in film, right? In, camera film. Where is Kodak today? Yeah, do we hear of Kodak often? Yeah, not really, right? They're virtually, non-existent. Now, can you tell me who was the first company that came up with the digital camera? Any guesses? It was Kodak. Okay. Now, Kodak was, today we all use digital cameras. Nobody really uses film, right? So the question is, if Kodak was the first company, why aren't they heard in this, why aren't we talking about them in this frame? Yeah. What is the purpose of that film or that camera? Why do we use the camera? It's to get an image. And what is that image signifying or is helping us capture? A memory. Yeah. Now the problem for Kodak was what? They were in the business of film. They were not in the business of capturing memories. And that was where that became the downfall for Kodak. Okay. So if my frame was that, hey, I'm in the business of capturing memories, there are different ways in which I can capture memories. The film was one of them. Okay. And that's where there's a constant need for us as organizations to innovate. Okay. Now, and that's the point here that we're trying to make, is that there is a need for us to selectively abandon the past. Kodak couldn't make that switch from film to the digital world. Okay. And that became its problem. Yeah. And so when we talk about innovation, okay, and this is really the same piece really, where as organizations we spend far too much time in trying to improve our current, okay, and improve our products and services in trying to better meet customer expectations. Okay. But what we really need to look at is what's the core job. Okay. In the context of innovation, and that's one thing that you may want to just keep in mind, is this thing called the job to be done. Okay. In case of Kodak, the job to be done was to capture memories. Okay. If I take this case of just another example of candles, if I take 100, 200 years ago, what was the purpose of a candle? Light. Yeah, it was to provide light. Okay. Now, are any of the candle makers in this business today? No. Right? Why? Because they didn't see their business that way as providing light. Okay. They were far too focused on increasing the amount of time a candle lit, reducing the smoke, so on and so forth. Those were the characteristics that they were working on. And again, that proved to be their downfall. Okay. So really, when we talk about innovation, okay, you're really looking at this thing called the job to be done. So in case of the candle, it was the illumination, which was the core job. Okay. So long as you're focused on that job, you're going to try and figure out new ways of how that job can be done. Okay. So if I have a certain capability here where the tungsten wire came in, okay, which led to the creation of the light bulb, and that became that creative idea. Okay. So you want to look at this creative idea and try and see whether it makes sense from a customer perspective. Is a light bulb better as compared to the candle? Yeah, which we all agree would be, is. And does it have a fit for the business? Can it make money for the business, right? If all these three come together, that's where you have a good innovation, which can, work for you. And that's the first path. The second way we can do the same thing is, if I'm into candles, I look at what other jobs can this product, help get done. Okay. Now, so one of the things that we could use a candle for is, say, setting the mood. Okay. Or we tend to use it in pujas and things like that, right? So that becomes, so these are other jobs out there, and that's where it becomes an additional, opportunity for us. And so that's where the idea of decorative candles and so on have come about. Okay. So you could look at either paths, okay, as you move along. But the key thing I want to leave you with here is that, are we really in the business of making candles or of digital film? Or are we in the business of providing illumination and capturing memories? Okay. For us to start looking at making the future, this switch has to occur. Okay. And that's where, innovation, really comes in. Okay. Okay, so broadly we've just talked about two things. I've talked about the Hoshin Kanri, okay, as a method which helps align what the organization wants to achieve and provides a better place for Lean Six Sigma to thrive. And the second is in terms of creating the future, which is where innovation comes in. Okay, so in terms of the agenda, we have an action-packed day. We're going to follow the opening session with the panel discussion. Okay. And I'm sure as practitioners and even as executives, one of the key questions is in Lean Six Sigma, is it really all about the tools? Okay, or is there more to it? The next session after that, we're going to look at, from founding to funding, where we're going to talk about certain things in terms of design, okay, of creating certain new products and services using some of these concepts, okay. And we'll also look at a breakthrough case study, using Lean Six Sigma. Post lunch, we're going to get into another panel discussion, which is a CEO's panel discussion. So, again, as practitioners, I think this is very deep, close to most of us. Where does Lean Six Sigma fit in the boardroom agenda? Does it fit in at all or not? So I'm sure we look to get some useful insights there. And then the last couple of sessions where we're going to talk about Lean Six Sigma on the growth trajectory. So we really see how can it help us, grow. As part of this, we will also see how we can extend Lean Six Sigma to our ecosystem. So going beyond the organization to customers and suppliers. And then finally, looking at Lean Six Sigma from a sustenance perspective. Okay, so that's the agenda that we have. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have good fun as we go through the day. Yeah. So lastly, I'll just leave you with a small quote here. Okay, I don't know any of you have heard of Michael Jordan. Okay, considered one of the best basketballers of all time. Okay, and this is one of his personal statements. Yep, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost more than almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and I have missed. I have failed over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, let's keep at it. Okay, the biggest thing we can do is, just keep trying and trying. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll succeed. Yeah, thank you very much.
I was just trying to get a kind of a sneak preview from my friend Pankaj, who is the next speaker about from Indus Tower. He's the regional director, as to what he's going to do. And he said, I'm not going to talk about Lean Six Sigma. I'm going to be provocative. And what Pankaj is going to give us is his perspective of how the world is changed and is changing from a high perspective, and then how, in his perspective, from his experiences, some recommendations, some maybe thoughts that he will leave with us as to what can be done and how it can be leveraged for business successes. So, welcome, Pankaj.
So, very good morning. And good morning, Dr. Kumar. So, I'm blessed here today because I have two mentors who are here. Dr. Kumar, who taught me when I was a kid, and S.K. Sharma. So I'm really blessed today. So I'm honored also to speak in front of all of you. So my presentation is, as he said, is not going to be about Six Sigma. And one initial thought, what was put in here, like when you Six Sigma and Lean, what's your personal growth? So I started my humble career with Maruti under the guidance of Dr. Kumar, grew a little bit in India, then 10 years spent in Europe. And now I'm heading a business of 3,000 crores in Indus Towers. So that's how I've grown from a quality professional to running a business. So my presentation, building to last. So it's a very, very, very interesting topic. Every company strive to build for last. Nobody built a company to vanish in few years. And all these examples, I was just joking. Either you talk about Kodak or Xerox or all these kind of things. At the cost of vanishing this company, we have a good case study. But they never, when they made this company, if everybody could have predicted the future, their life would have been very, very different. But it happens. So just a little bit before I go about my presentation, I think my company also is a kind of a case study itself on this topic, building to last. What this company all about? So Indus Tower is the world largest telecom tower company, based in India, operate in India, still the largest in the world. It grew as the largest company in the world, so it's a kind of very, very innovative company, which was formed 4 years back as the world largest company. So on the first day of its birth, it was running at 100 miles per hour. So our vision, we transform life by enabling communication. Why? Because all of you sitting in this room, 70% of your calls, telephone calls, goes through my towers. So if you miss a call somewhere, I'm not working. But mostly you don't miss a call. You always get connected. So that's where I am catering to 700 million users in India right now. Our commitment to the environment, because sometimes when we're using the phone, it's a 12-volt battery, right? We put a small charger, we charge the phone on your computer. But can you imagine how much energy is used in the back end? My company consumes the maximum diesel after Indian Railways in India. My energy bill is 5,000 crores. Okay, so it consumes a lot of energy. And that also drives us very, very enthusiastic about being protective about the environment. And very recently, 2 weeks back, Indus Tower was awarded as in Barcelona in a global summit of telecom operators worldwide as a green company. So it was a very big honor for this company to get a global award in Barcelona last week. Okay, and what we do? We build towers. We share towers from all the operators like Vodafone, Airtel, Idea, Reliance, and everybody. So we built the infrastructure for all the telecom companies in India. Who's Indus Towers? Some of you might be knowing, especially S.K. Sharma definitely knows it because 40% is his company. So this company is a joint venture of Vodafone, Airtel, and Idea. Can you imagine these three competitors in the field? They have a joint venture for their infrastructure. So it's a very, very interesting company. Three operators in the market competing, and on the boardroom they are working, aligning themselves to grow this company. It's a very, very interesting case. And because of that, Indus Tower is a part of the Harvard Business Review and also in the London Business School. So this is a very unique case study in the world, how competitors can work together also for a bigger objective for customer satisfaction and customer value. So that's, I think, a very, very unique combination. Hardly any people do it. Okay. I give you a simple example. You buy every day different mobile phones. Not even a charger is the same, Now I started to realize BlackBerry and the Samsung charger is same, at least. At my home, at least I have one charger. But just a simple thing, but it costs a lot to all of us. So that's kind of value Indus Tower is created. We are present in 16 circles in India. Okay. So our customers, actually everybody. Anybody and everybody who has to operate in India in telecom sector, they have to come to Indus Tower because we have 110,000 towers and 200,000 plus tenancy, which is the largest in the world. And the second competitor is 30-40% of our size. So it's kind of a big company. What Indus Tower is, it's a very, very decentralized structure. 110,000 towers means 110,000 places in India. It's a small factory, 110,000 small factories. So it's not one four-wall factory where you can implement everything, you can control everything. 110,000 small factories running in isolated areas, unmanned factories. And still you're running those factories with a Six Sigma level. And that is the beauty of this company. Okay. So that's the challenge, but we deliver it 99.96% uptime. That's the level of performance Indus Tower deliver in a decentralized structure. And you know what is the power availability in India? Is it 99.96% of the time in front 24 hours? No? Right? So even with that kind of a power setup in India, we are delivering 99.96 uptime to the telecom operators. That is why you are able to connect to your loved ones all the time, right? Now, not giving too much gyan about my company, so I think this was good enough at the beginning. So, talking about building to last. So, when we're talking about building to last, what does it really mean? Okay? And when you build something, you need to know what is the environment factors around you. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective about what's happening around the world. And what is happening around the world, how it is impacting India as an economy, okay? And if it is impacting India as an economy, what we need to do differently. And last week, actually, I was shocked. I asked some financial planner to plan my retirement. Okay. Typically, they scare you. So maybe one of your friend came to my house. Some of the insurance guys. Okay. So he said, if your living expenses are 1 lakh rupees right now, after retirement, to have the same life, what kind of expenses would you have? Can anybody guess? Pardon? 20 lakh rupees. Okay, per month. And then I said, so what I'm going to do? And how many people, I think in this room, most people will have a medical insurance coverage 2 to 10 lakh rupees. right? Something around that. Some may have a little bit more, but around that. After you retire, what do you think would be medical coverage you will be needing? 10 लाख में बुखार का भी इलाज नहीं होगा रिटायरमेंट के बाद. Forget about anything else. So you know it better. So I think the point is, what I'm saying is, when you look at all this economic data, it creates a hell out of you. I am going to be on the road, and I went to the hospital last couple of weeks for some reasons. And I see there's a general ward, there is a private ward. Today I can feel I can afford private ward. Okay? But when I look at this economic data, I said, यार 30 साल के बाद तो मैं बाहर बैठना पड़ेगा मुझे. I will not be able to afford it. So if I can't afford it, because I am working in a company, my expectation will be much higher. Can company afford me? Or can company deliver that kind of thing? I'm going to talk about all those kind of things right now. So don't get depressed. Okay? But that's a reality. Because I did my financial planning, so I am a little bit depressed for the last 2 weeks. So, macroeconomic forces around Indian economy. What's happening? Is India still competitive? Is our company making profitable? Because when they publish the results, they never talk about profit margin. They always talk about percentage improvement in the EBITDA. Because revenue is growing, they can show 10% improvement in EBITDA as a number. But margins are shrinking. You look at any company, most of them margins are shrinking. Why? How much is the increment you get every year on a salary? Or how much you expect? At least double digit, right? Most of us. Single digit we feel like, boss didn't like us, right? We all expect at least double digit. But are we able to improve our productivity or our profitability double digit every year? No. As a whole, as a company. So where do you get this cost? And unfortunately, we don't have any Mexico south of India, right? US had Mexico. Germany had Czechoslovakia or Morocco. But we don't have any. We have just India. South India, North India. And unfortunately, costs are the same. So where do we go? East, China, right, Europe. So we are the lowest cost of whatever you call it. Okay? So now I just try to pick up some data. In 1980s, in the left corner, there were very few transactions happening in the manufacturing sector from one country to the other. And as a India, we always feel we are very cheap, we are highly productive, blah, blah, blah. But what you see now in 2010, there are a lot of hubs of manufacturing has opened. It's not only China and India. Europe has opened a lot of hubs in the Eastern Europe and also in the north of Africa. US primarily, Mexico and Brazil. So there are a lot of hubs are being opened. So they are catering to their local requirement. So European company may not come to India for exports too much. They may get the same pricing in Romania and Bulgaria and Turkey as well. So I will talk about some data on the labor cost and why they don't want to come to India right now. So this is what is happening. So we are just one of them. We have no uniqueness as a low cost environment. Okay? So we are one of them. And China is sitting next to us with a high volume production with a low cost. But China is also a little bit shaky right now. So, but that's the reality of the business right now happening. Commodity prices, they are shooting up anything and which impacts our high cost imports. Okay. And also, if you are exporting or importing from India to Europe or to anywhere else, there is 8 weeks of sea in between. Okay. So when there is 8 weeks of sea and the freight cost, all these oil prices will kill you completely. Okay. I'm just trying to give a context to you what kind of cost pressure you are sitting with. So does your program address those cost pressure properly? Currency is like moving up and down, nobody knows why. So when finance minister likes it, he keeps moving up and down. What really happens? Our exports become cheaper, but we are importing a lot of stuff, so it's become very, very costly. So you lose that competitiveness. Okay. Now this is the interesting slide, you must know that. This is a slide of our wage rate in India and other countries. So if you look at 2015, which is just next door, right? 2 years later, we are talking about $4 or $5 per hour. In McDonald's in Europe, in US, they pay $8 per hour. So it's not so different, isn't it? And at $4 or $5 per hour, you can get production done easily in Mexico. You can get production done in Morocco, which is 1 hour distance from Spain, which is Europe. You can get that at a lower cost than this in Romania, Bulgaria, where there is no sea in between Europe and that. You can move by truck in 24 hours your material. So are we competitive? And this is 2015. And the data I just talked about, this, cost of living in next 20 years, you are going crazy completely. This $5 will become $25. And then we have a big problem. Okay, I will tell you another thing. After this financial planning, I redefining, should I stay in India after retirement or I go back to Europe? I stayed 10 years in Europe. I came back from Europe 2 years back. Now I'm rethinking about it. At least after retirement. Because after retirement, my living cost will be much cheaper in US than in India. I'll tell you why. So, I'm just saying again and again, I'll be competitive. Inflation, 10%. Okay, we can change the government by onion prices. So, very, very vulnerable economy. So that's the cost of living. So cost of living, if I'm spending a lakh rupees or 100 rupees or 1 rupee or whatever for living today, and if I want to live little bit decently after retirement, in India I need 20 rupees. But in US I need 5 only. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking. Should I earn enough to save 20 for retirement, or I earn little bit and spend the time in US for my retirement? Because I have to spend only $5 after retirement in US. Why should I earn too much, work so hard today? Let me enjoy my life now, earn a little bit decent money, and then go back to US when I'm retired. Okay? But that thought is coming to my mind after I did the financial planning. But that thought is very scary for our own companies. Because if our living cost goes up, my employee is going to expect money, isn't it? Where I'm going to give it from? From my profit, EBITDA line, profit line, or I'm going to borrow from the bank to give the salaries. Isn't it? You've seen airline industry in India, what's happening? Everybody's aware of it, right? So every industry is getting that kind of a pressure, and that pressure is very, very real. We always thought our labor cost is so low, but this 10% inflation year over year is taking away our profitability. Now, we have a beautiful sea in between us and Europe and US. So can you imagine in the just in time, we are all practitioners of Lean Six Sigma. We talk just in time, right? In Lean. So when I have 8 weeks of sea in between for one side, if I'm importing and value adding and exporting, it's 16 weeks, right? I have to order also. So 20-25 महीने का काम हो गया. Can you afford as an industry to have a lead time of 20 weeks? You cannot survive. So I'm just talking about the facts which is happening around us. So where are we heading? What kind of improvements can protect us? So that's a question to all this group, and I think that's a very good theme of this summit, building to last. So we were just talking about why business heads don't spend their energy on Six Sigma program. Why not? So where do they spend the money? Borrowing money? Or what they're doing? So we need to really look at where are we heading? What we need to do differently now? Is our program good enough to drive this kind of thing? To cater to all these issues? Or our program is a program which is feel good factor? You need to think about it as a group. Because it's very, very simple. If I'm not adding value to my company, why my CEO should spend time on me? I do the same with my employees. If I'm running a business of 3,000 crores myself, if an employee coming with me a program of Lean or Six Sigma, and he says, I will do 10 Kaizen. Okay, what are the value you're going to deliver? 10 lakh rupees. So in 3,000 crore, 10 lakh rupees is the pocket money, isn't it? So there's no value. So we need to really look at why our CEO or why the company leaders not giving their ears to you or to us. Why not? How much money I'm putting on the table? Or how much value I'm putting on the table? They said money drives money, right? So if I'm putting the money, 500 crores, 200 crores, 300 crores, they will definitely listen to me. But not for 30 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees. Now this is another provoking question to all of us sitting in this room. Are you busy discussing following things in your Lean Six Sigma program? What is the kind of discussion you have in your Six Sigma program? Or Lean Six Sigma program or whatever? Are you concerned about project selection? You talking about training? Are you spending time on certification, numbers, metrics? Are you talking about operational efficiency, quality of a parameter, cost reduction? You concerned about management commitment, toll gate review, usage of the tool? ये tool use क्यों नहीं करा? वो क्यों करा? This tool is better. How many Kaizens have been done? These are the discussion what you have in your office. Does silence mean yes? You know, what does it mean is, you're throwing a stone in the river and trying to change the way of the river. Okay? Because that discussion should not even happen. So, are we talking about creating the long-term value for the company? And I think it was, Deepak brought a very good point in terms of, future and the present. And I think Jack Welch said, there are lot of wise CEOs who can think about present and some think about the future, but there are very few who can think together. Okay? And I think that's also, you said in a presentation mode. But are we talking about long-term value creation of the company? What long-term value can be? It cannot be just by cost, isn't it? It has to be everything. It has to be innovation, new markets, new products. It has to be totally different. I give you one example of this value creation. How many people know Porsche? All men should know it, right? We all aspire to have one Porsche. And I think, agar Six Sigma program theek thaak chalta raha, we'll all get Porsche some day or the other as an incentive or a bonus. So Porsche was doing very bad in early 90s. Very, very bad. And you can see their numbers, their profitability was very down. And then they really did a transformation. Total transformation of this company. And now it's a very, very successful company. Margins are growing, sales are growing, it's doing excellent. Somehow, while I was working in Lufthansa Airlines, I've been associated with Porsche to take some inputs, best practices from Porsche to implement in Lufthansa. So it's so radically they changed it. It's a new example of lean transformation after Toyota. After Toyota, if you talk about lean transformation in the modern world, it's Porsche. So this number speaks. That's the value creation they did. They don't talk about cost reduction. Sometimes when we're making car, we talk about cost reduction, how to reduce the cost of the seat. When they make the car, they ask a guy from Texas, US, bring the skin of your bull and we'll put that bull skin on your seat, specially made for you. And we say, I'll charge you $100,000 more. They're ready to pay that money. It's a premium product, but they're selling like small cars. Okay? So also talk about a little bit where the transformation started in different part of the world. Japan, we all know it, they started in 1950s. When Deming went there, they started in a big way as a country. But in US, transformation started more in 1980s. But transformation, the first principle was moving everything to Mexico. So, that was a fundamental transformation. Everything goes to Mexico. All manufacturing goes to Mexico. Something to China now. But it was more going to Mexico. And then when Toyota came to US, then they really started lean journey in most of the US companies, because when Toyota hit General Motors in a big way. Do you see General Motors cars now sometimes? How many? You see General Motors cars? You see more Hondas and Japanese cars and Korean cars. German cars now in India is flooded with German cars. We have a lot of money, BMW, Audi and Mercedes. But you don't see so many US cars. So they started the transformation in 1980s. Europe wake up in 1990s, but they also had option to go to East Europe or go to north of Africa. We are stuck in our own country. Okay? So when we going to start? When we going to do this transformation? How many transformation has happened in India in last 20, 30 years? One or two I definitely know. I remember, maybe I don't know much of some of them. So the key is the transformation. How you want to do it, what tool you want to use it is absolutely up to you. You are the best expert to which tool you need to use. But more than the tool, what are you heading for? What are you aiming for? Are you aiming big? Are you aiming value creation? Or are you aiming certification numbers? Okay? So one transformation I said connected to my company right now. This company Indus Towers, when it was made, it is able to reduce the cost by 60%. 60% is a big number, right? For the telecom operators. By sharing this infrastructure, operators are able to roll out very, very fast in any part of India. So speed to market becomes very, very fast. And can you imagine 20,000 sites in India, I don't fill any diesel. In an environment where our light or electricity come for 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours, I don't fill a damn diesel. That is a transformation. You're thinking totally radically. I'm not going to fill the diesel. To protecting the environment, but also to make sure my infrastructure is very, very robust. So that's the kind of transformation I think the three JV partners, Vodafone, Airtel and Idea did. A big thought process. That was a real transformation. It changed the way the whole passive infrastructure, telecom infrastructure in India. And it also brings huge, tremendous amount of competitiveness to them as well. And a market protection, because it's their company. So any player who's going to enter into India, if they make money, all these three companies are going to make money, because it will go through Indus Towers anyway. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great thing which transformation happened. Other transformation I talk about, that will be, I think, my last slide, is Maruti Udyog Limited. And Dr. Kumar is a legend sitting here. I think it will be good if you can interact with him. Maruti is in 90s, early 90s. They started a big way vendor development program and dealer development program. So when I used to be associated with that program in those days. When we used to go to those companies, they were normal garage in a Faridabad or in Noida or in Ludhiana or in south of India. Normal companies, revenue of 10 lakh, 5 lakh, very small entrepreneurs. Those were the kind of companies. Now the companies what you see on Gurgaon, Jaipur highway, those big companies, revenue of 1,000 crores, 500 crores, they started from that scratch. That is the revolution Maruti brought in India. All the dealer what you see in India, that is what Dr. Kumar gave a birth to them actually. So when this infrastructure was ready in India, all these players could come to India and a ready plate to serve. So all these players, all these automobile companies, now they are flooding in India. Everybody, Tom, Dick and Harry's, everybody's there in India. Why? Because that transformation led to them to come to India very fast. If that thing was not available, they would not have come. They would not have spent their energy to start developing vendors or start developing the infrastructure or dealership. So all the big dealers, car dealers what you see in any city, they first were the Maruti big dealers and then now they are the dealer for every other company. That is a kind of transformation which lasts long. Not for that company itself, but for the as a nation. And same is the story for Indus Towers. It's a infrastructure built for the nation. So that is my story about the transformation and why Lean and Six Sigma program is so important. But play at a right level. Don't underplay. If you underplay, you will not get the right voice or time from your CEOs. And just last two slides about some of the recognition we just got as a company. The first one is the GSM a mobile award which we got in Barcelona last week. And there are various very prestigious awards recognizing Indus Tower because it's a very, very unique company and it's built on the foundation of transformation. So that's it from my side and open to questions if anybody has.
Thank you.
It was real provocative, absolutely, Pankaj. Thank you so much. And those of you who are wondering why the call drops, catch him during the tea break. He is responsible now, we know. I was actually on the side requesting Mr. Dr. Kumar. I said, what is your theme? And in his fantastically charming style, he says, I do not know Six Sigma. I'm going to talk about quality. And that reminded me of one of the discussions with a friend, which came back alive. It is almost like religion. And those of you who would perhaps relate with this, like all religion, say exactly the same thing. Any quality methodology or system, whether it is the lean production system or it is the Toyota production system or it is Six Sigma or TQM or TOC or whatever, it's a religion. And the religion is called quality. So I know that it could be various ways of reaching the same place of satisfying the customer's needs profitably, growing the business, making breakthrough. Thank you, Pankaj, so much. I'm sure later Mr. Ratan is going to summarize and share his thoughts. We are running a little behind schedule, so please bear with us. Listening to Dr. Kumar has always been a privilege and an honor and a pleasure. He is going to share the great stuff that has been done in this country in transformation, in terms of starting with 80s when the small little Maruti came on road and transformed the landscape completely. And from there on, the story goes on and on and on. My honor to welcome Dr. Kumar.
Good morning. Excuse me, my bad throat. I was wanting to skip it, but somehow Mr. Deepak Siddha, wherever he is, I think he was persistent and he continuously followed me to come to this conference. So I am happy in one sense that I have come here to address all of you. Not only that, I am happy that I am going back with lots of ideas. And thank you, Mr. Agarwal, to awaken us about the challenges about India. And I have been saying this again and again. The costs of labor, the way they are increasing, India is going to become a non-competitive country. In hoteling business, where we are sitting today, the costs are much more than the costs are in Bangkok. We hold conferences in Bangkok, rather in Bangalore, where the cost in Bangkok are cheaper than the cost in Bangalore. So somebody should wake up and find out where are we heading for. And back in 2002 or 2004, I remember we went for vendor conference in Bangkok and visited an industrial site. And I'm telling you that Bangkok prices of cost of labor were cheaper than India with more productivity. We are used to giving increase in salary every year at the rate of 10% without knowing what level of productivity we are going up. And this is a challenge for all of us and all of you. Have you looked at the productivity increase before giving him a salary jump? Many of you are compelled sometimes so that to motivate him, but he must be made aware through employee engagement that where will the company get money from? It is not Government of India that they will print notes. And having said that, I now come back, as like Vineet said, what are you speaking about? I said, I was forced to this conference and I didn't know what to do. And then I fell ill. So pardon me, I will not speak much about Six Sigma. Although I am a great admirer of these tools and techniques. Now, what are we looking at? Quality is management of quality or quality of management? I think all of us know, and more from the Six Sigma business community, we are looking at quality of management, not managing the quality. And this was a gentleman called Kano, and my life has been obsession with the customer, because customers teach us everything. You don't have to read books to know about quality. You just ask your customers what you are doing, and they will tell you, this is your mistake, there where you are wrong. And customers will teach you. Your company has the technology to manufacture products, but customers will tell you what they need. And if you don't listen to the customers, there are penalties. And penalties is loss of business. Customer will vote with his business loyalty. He will never come back to you if you treat him shabbily. Believe me, my friends, we don't listen to the voice of the customer with sincerely. And if we do it, our business will grow. 100% I can guarantee you. But technology must keep pace. Now, a customer comes to you. You must know what is he talking about. You are giving him a promise of delivered quality by interaction your leaflets, and that he hears from his friends, and he comes to know that is expected quality. And then when he looks at the product, it is the perceived quality. When I enter a building, I've been told it's a very good building, it's a very good company you are going to interview for. You meet the receptionist, she is very lazy. She doesn't even have the time to direct you to the room. Do you think it's a good restaurant? So my perceived quality and delivered quality, there is a gap. And all of us are struggling to bridge that gap. Please understand that this is the challenge for most of us. Whether you are a Six Sigma practitioner or you're a quality practitioner, the challenge or the goal is the same. What is quality? It is meeting or exceeding customer satisfaction. That's it. Meeting or exceeding customer satisfaction. And that is what is customer delight. And we are all talking of changing and continuously improvement. I saw some people, their designation is continuous improvement. If you don't know continuous improvement, you will die. And the organization will be history in a matter of years. In his book on Search of Excellence, what did Tom Peters write? And today if you go back and visit those companies, most of them are not there. So various journeys were started. Like somebody said, there's a temple, I am a Jain. He says, I am a Muslim. Somebody said, I am a Christian. For Christian, there is God. For Jains also there is a God. For a Muslim also there is Allah. But it's one. It's all one. We all reaching the same. But please do not misunderstand the overall message which is running through it. Now, what is world-class quality? We always talk of world-class products, world-class quality. Are you giving him cost-effective, price-effective, right time, right amount, and right place? My friend from BMG talked about 99% delivery on time. We don't expect 99% delivery. We expect 99.99% delivery on time from the vendors. Now, whatever it takes, because we are running our line 16 hours continuously. I am not saying my line, I have retired from Maruti. I am just leading a happy and retired life. But Maruti line still runs for 16 hours a day without any interruption. If only they will stop, it is because of less demand. So vendors are continuously at challenge to supply the products on time. Now, some of the TQM models were Deming Price, Malcolm Baldrige, and so on. I don't want to. And then came Six Sigma improvement, which started at Motorola. Now, as a manufacturer, what do? I have my suppliers, I have my customers. For my customers, I am the supplier. For my vendors, I am the customer. But we must remember that we must apply the continuous tools of apply and teach others. And that's what Six Sigma also tells. And continuously improve the process and reduce the defects. And I must give my requirement to my suppliers and continuous feedback as how they are performing. And similarly, as my customers, I will always like to understand their requirement and take feedback as to how I am performing. This is basically any manufacturer, any supplier, this equation will hold good for you. Now let's look at the quality gurus. What did they teach us? Deming always said process quality and product quality will improve productivity. And what will productivity do to us? It will lead to customer satisfaction. It will reduce cost. It will reduce price. It will increase market share. And it is increase profit. And this is the model you are following. Productivity should go up. Customer satisfaction increase. The price should go down. And for price to go down, the cost has to go down. What did Joran said? You plan, you control, and you improve. These were the three things Joran said. You plan, you control, and you improve. And it's a continuous cycle. And what did Crosby said? Do it right the first time. And what Japanese called pokayoke. He said, do it right the first time. And he was the biggest philosopher of quality, given very less recognition. And he said one more thing. Zero defects must be a performance standard of everyone in the company, from top management to the workers. I don't want to bother you with many things I have written on the slide. But then came Taguchi. He said, variation is the enemy. And there is a loss with every variation. Don't talk of only customer width, and that is goal width. Don't. Just talk of the process width, and always keep reducing it. And so long as my process width is less than the customer width, I am okay. Then come Ishikawa, you know the cause and effect diagram. And quality is everybody's responsibility in the company. This is the result of high quality work of processes. Quality is what the customer says it is. This is what gentleman Figgenbaum, who used to work in General Electric as a quality manager. This is what he said. Quality is everybody's responsibility in the company. It's not only the responsibility of quality manager. It's not the responsibility of MD only. Everyone in the company, right from the guard to the managing director, they're responsible for their quality. And quality is what the customer says. It finishes there. No more definitions, please. Don't give us any definitions. Quality is what the customer says. And what is the principle of quality? We must understand and anticipate the customer needs. What the customer is needing. Like my friend Agarwal said, we change from the film to the digital camera. I don't want to go to the hassle of going to the printer and get the prints and give him money. I can put the photo and see to my computer. Only by measuring something, it can be known. And this is what Deming said. Robert Kelvin also said the same thing. Variation is the enemy. We all know. And you people in the Six Sigma community are trying to reduce the variation. It's the variation which must be reduced. When we do, you see, Y is a function of FX. We all know. But how many of us really apply in day-to-day life? I just missed some slides. In God we always trust, but from others we demand data. You have to be a data-driven company. You cannot measure a process unless you have data. Quality should increase. This is nonsense. It's a load of nonsense statement. How much? What is your PPM level? How much you want to increase? 20%? 25%? Do you want to become 5 Sigma company? All these are measures. But easier said than done. Most of the Indian companies are not even operating at 3 Sigma level. In Faridabad today, there are 4 inspectors and 1 production worker. You can imagine the quality we are producing, even now. This was the PDCA cycle Deming taught us. Deming further said, look to the system, do not blame people. How many of us have not blamed the people? In the 2G case, we went for Mr. Raja. Oh, if we catch him and put him in behind the prison, we have solved the problem. Did we look at the system? Did anybody talk about the system? And these jokers who come on the TV every day in the evening and discuss various things, do they talk about the system? They only talk and talk and talk about people who have committed the problem. But nothing will happen unless the systems are improved and processes are rigidly followed in a disciplined way. The new way empowers and trains people to be their own inspectors. You don't need anybody to inspect. You empower that worker on the line that you are your own inspector, and we will not appoint an inspector to judge your work. Believe me, you give that confidence to him, he will do a good work. Who doesn't want to good work? I must narrate you a story. I used to work in the railways before I joined Maruti, and we went to Durgapur. And the steel plant superintendent was manufacturing wheels. And he said, there is a GT road. This is dividing line. When you come to the plant, my workers will Cholbena, Cholbena. And when you go across to the residential colony, they talk about Rabindra Sangeet. What should I do, my son? Should I send him to IIT? So they are totally transformed person. Who has empowered them to become Cholbina, Cholbina? Our own political system. Their only bloody job is to only mislead the people. I must say that capitalist world is the real world. Socialistic world doesn't account for our accountability. Yes, the government must provide social security. But social security is given to those who contribute, not to everybody who doesn't contribute, like in the US. Always follow the principles of 3-9. Do not receive, do not make, and do not send defects to the next process. This is a very, very golden principle. Please, my friends, remember it, and you will always be successful in any transactional or manufacturing business. Benchmarking, Robert Camp, must know where you stand. Like my friend Agarwal, he very nicely put up. Where are we heading for? If you benchmark against the world in terms of labor cost, I think we are nowhere. Look at a country like Vietnam. When I buy my shoes for walking, they are made in Vietnam, manufactured in Vietnam. Can you imagine? We can't even manufacture good walking shoes. And we talk of so many big things. India is shining, India is shining. Where is India shining? Nowhere. It's bloody load of nonsense. Don't look at the lowest cost of goods. Look at the initial cost is no meaning, RFQ. RFQ 1, RFQ 2, RFQ 3. Whichever is the least, you get the tender. This is government follows. I tell you, when I joined railways, and I was a young boy of 24, I needed polythene pipes to run the diesel engines, which were imported for USA. The reinforced pipes were used. And those pipes were not available in India. We said some jugaad should be used. So I went to buy polythene pipes. And very enthusiastic, I said, I will never send anybody, I'll go myself. So he says, you are from the railways? I said, yes. So you will need three copies of tender? Yes, I said. He said, don't worry, I have 3 pads. I'll give you all the 3 because your company only believes in the least tender. And I said, no, don't cheat me all that. I was a greenhorn. I wanted to do an honest job. So I went to the other person in the Pan Bazaar in Guwahati. He also said the same thing. Sir, you are from the railways? आपको तो 3 कोटेशन चाहिए. ले लीजिए 3 कोटेशन मेरे पास भी है. अब कहाँ जाए आदमी जब सारा आवाई खराब है? When they say in Punjabi, they say the whole kiln is bad, then what do you do? Is total dishonesty pervading the whole country, where do you start? That is what the initial lowest, look at the total cost, not at the lowest initial cost. I think somebody should teach the babus in the government of India as well as the audit people that you must understand how business is done. Business is not done by the government. It is not the duty of the government to be in business. And these are some features of elements of good quality. You all know world-class quality. Please remember defect level again 3.4. And what I want like to tell you that you must spend at least 10% of the budgeted time for training and education. This is the most important message which comes out of this. Yeah, I know, Mr. Vineet, you are reminding me of my time, but I have to finish. Okay. And so on. You must not become a Hitler, a commander. Do it. Because I am telling you, you got to be a coach. You got to be a trainer. You got to be a trainer. Only if you are a trainer, you can influence your employees. I want this report by 5 o'clock, not knowing that this report will take 3 days. You work night and day, I don't give a damn. So this is not done. Rest of it you can see on the slide. Oh my God. You see, one is command structure, which we have in all organizations. But one is, you have to move with the flow. When a product is manufactured, it goes through various departments. It's like a gamba. And this flow has to be connected homogeneously. You can't say, no, this is the boundary of my process. No. The flow must go on and it must connect all. It is like a thread which is joining the beads of various departments. Reward people that puts quality improvement first. Financial customers must reflect. Don't force rank individuals because most people operate within the system. Who creates the system? You people. But who blames the lower down people? You people. What business you have got to blame them if you make bad systems? You must ask yourself, who made this system? 75% or 85% of the problem are caused by bad systems, not by good employees. But anyway, whenever we have a problem, look for the person. Who did it? Who did it? Who was in the night shift? Who was in the evening shift? बुलाओ उसको और उसको वार्निंग करेंगे, कुछ करेंगे, उससे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगी. I must isolate the few. I think time is less, I must hurry up. Then we come to famous philosophy of Six Sigma. Wonderful philosophy. I have nothing against it. You know better than me. But there are 3 things you must remember. The customer will ask for delivery, he will ask for cost, and he will ask for quality. As a supplier, you have to give him in the cycle time, you have to give him in the cost you have to control, and you have to control the defects. This interaction of do and need is very important, which was postulated by Michael Harry. Now, capability is a very important thing. I just would like to spend 5 minutes with your permission, Mr. Vineet. Capability is a function of Y is Fx. Now, this is what Six Sigma teaches us. Our survival is dependent on growing the business. And how do we grow the business? Our business growth is largely determined by customers. And believe me, that is why I like Six Sigma. Six Sigma talks about customers, customers, customers. And customer satisfaction is governed by quality, cost, and delivery, and so on. at the simple principle. It should not be delta by. Even if y is x1 square plus x2 square, you are going to isolate the leverage. Here in this figure, if I change x1 by only 25%, I get 8% change in y. That is what Six Sigma teaches us, that which is the leverage point that you should apply to improve the maximum goal. And believe me, the role of management is to reduce uncertainty, to known unknown, to unknown, to reduce disbelief, risk and defect rate. Certainty, known, belief, confidence, yield must go up. And this must go down. And this is what we are all struggling as managers. And do not fear failure, that you refuse to try new things. As my friend said, fail, fail, fail. But only one thing is fail fast. Fail fast and improve. The saddest summary of life contains 3 descriptions: could have, might have, should have. But we must do something. We must do something till India is not a gone history like we were in the early, before 92. It's a country unknown to the world. You go everywhere. You are from India? Oh, I don't know. Where is India located? And you will be so ashamed. When I used to go to abroad, we are from India. Oh, where is India located? Even still today people talk to us in some parts of the US. So, my dear friends, please remove the 3 descriptions: could have, might have, should have. Do it now, and that is my request to all of you. I don't know Six Sigma, but this is what all I have learned in life. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Dr. Kumar was just saying that I'm sorry if I exceeded. Teachers always exceed. It is for learners to see how much we can pick up. Well, it's my pleasure and privilege to deliver the concluding remark and propose a formal vote of thanks. I always get a good opportunity of concluding the session, and that's the easiest job, believe me. You have such eminent speakers speaking. Just pick 3 lines for each, and 12 lines of your concluding remarks are ready. And you will all think I am a very wise man. I am not. I just kept on noting what they are saying. Well, this is the 4th edition of Lean Six Sigma. We started the first edition in 2010, I think, which was Lean Six Sigma transforming business, big or small. It was about creating awareness. The 2nd edition was on Lean Six Sigma Reinvented, the mantra to achieve business goals. We shared deployment policies, deployment tactics. Last year, the edition was doing more with less. Here we shared success stories, and we were sharing case histories to see what can we deploy from the companies which have succeeded. And this year we're talking of building to last through Lean Six Sigma. I think we are talking of sustainability overall. After hearing them, I thought sustainability can only be achieved in one way. Delight the CEOs. And who are the CEOs? C is for customer, Dr. Kumar's CEO. E is for employees, both of them spoke. O is the owners. Let them have more money and create more growth. S is, of course, the society at large, the shareholders. So I think the sustainability will come by delighting the CEOs, and we have to see, are we doing it? In the beginning, I must mention that the opening session of the summit has set the tone by indicating the importance of Lean Six Sigma as a lifeblood of our organization. And I'm quite confident that as the day progresses, we'll have sessions full of motivation, learning, and better understanding. You see, when the first edition of this Lean Six Sigma started, somebody asked me before the session, what is Lean Six Sigma? I said, I understand very little of it. All I know, there was this attractive lady by the name of Miss Lean. There was this handsome young man, very enthusiastic, Mr. Sigma. They met on a beach. They decided to start a family, and it became Lean Six Sigma. And the rest is history. From there to where I am today, I find these sessions are always very educative, very informative, and there are a lot of good speakers to follow. I think all you must try to see is how is your progress in understanding Lean Six Sigma improving. Mine has improved. At least I don't see any Miss Lean today. I see Lean Six Sigma as an initiative today. In 1998, Jack Welch in his annual report said, variation is the evil. And he looked at reducing the variation in lead time, what he called as the span, as one big goal for G. Dr. Ohno, the Dr. Kumar of Toyota, he was a very difficult man. I'm lucky I haven't worked under him, but I have heard about Dr. Ohno. He was only concentrated. They have only one mantra, waste management. And they have only one measurement, condensing the time frame from order to getting your money. And that's all. They do all this. Taguchi, Six Sigma, TPM, they do all that. But they have only one end goal. Are we reducing the time span? And that was their goal always. When Lean cannot bring a process under statistical control, Six Sigma alone cannot dramatically improve process speed, or it cannot condense the time. And therefore the association of the two was very important. Lean Six Sigma, that maximizes shareholders' value by achieving the fastest rate of improvement in customer satisfaction, cost, quality, process speed, and invested capital. The focus of Lean Six Sigma is totally on what GE and Dr. Ohno tried all the time, or they wanted to achieve. Lean Six Sigma also leads to more radical, innovative change other than short-term productivity. Lean Six Sigma is all about unlocking the power and potential of an organization and encouraging innovation in an organization. It has always promised a significant potential as a method of process improvement also. Lean Six Sigma emphasizes flow and waste reduction. It focuses on enhancing value for customers by examining the value stream, and hence is heavily customer-centric. I must mention that the importance of Lean Sigma has increased manifold in the last 2 decades and has set to increase even more, and is also likely to increase even more in the coming years as more and more business realizes benefits. We can never be too sure about the future, but as far as the present is concerned, Lean Six Sigma is certainly calling the shots across all type of business worldwide. First, I must start thanking the speakers, Vineet, as always, for such intrinsic value-opted opening and emphasizing the importance of Lean Sigma for an employee organization involved in identifying and eradicating the hurdles in the line of competition. But something which I also found very interesting, It is benefiting at each individual level. Direct benefit to each people. Any functional leader who employs it is guaranteed success. And if you have failure, please call Vineet. I think your cards are available with everybody. He emphasized creating the winner organization. And in the end, he said, relax and enjoy. Gentlemen, we didn't catch this line. I don't find many relaxed and enjoyable faces. Everybody's looking tense. I don't know why. Wherever I take a 5S training program, 5S initiative, the Japanese taught 5S. I said no. As an Indian, I will start with one more S. And that one S is smile. I said try to broaden this a little bit so that you create a cheer around. Well, I hope Vineet, as day goes on, will surely relax and enjoy. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. Deepak, who presented the theme of the summit, Building to Last Through Lean Six Sigma, is an expert in this area and has always shown keen interest, his organization, in associating with us, and has always been a grand support. You talked about ensuring alignment. You talked about creating the future. And you asked some very interesting things. But you took us through the 7 steps of Hossein planning. You gave us a case study. You also showed how it can be cascaded down. In creating the future, 2 things he said which were very important. Selectively abandon the past. Long back, even Peter Drucker said, when he was talking about managing for the future, he laid lot of emphasis, can we abandon the past? And that is some shackles which we have around, which we'll have to unshackle. And he talked about value creation model. Something very interesting he said is, too much time on improving the existing process. You know, our best people are always in improving the existing process. Today the leaders, the gurus are telling, take away your best people out of it and let them work for the future projects. Do not spend your best time and effort only on maintaining the status quo. I think that was a very, very good concept and job to be done. I think your company has started this JTBD model everywhere. It's very similar to value engineering has a functional analysis model. I think this is a very, very powerful model which you have developed, and I'm sure a lot of industries will be using it, will be understanding it, and thank you very much for their lovely presentation. Pankaj, he was like a bombshell. 2 things good happened during his talk. One, I know now when I in future miss a call, whom to blame. I always blamed Airtel, but today I know who the real culprit is. So beware. And by drawing the picture of the future cost of living and all that, I felt very happy. I am not going to live that long. I pity some of the people who have to spend, how much you said, 20 lakhs? Oh God. I once, in 1971, 72, I went abroad first time and I was in Italy. And I was carrying foreign exchange. And I took a taxi from airport to hotel. And when he started looking at his bill, I always was counting how many lire I have got. Because it started with 20,000 lires and 20,000 is 20,000. And after a while I said it is 40,000. So I kept on counting. I have this much money. I think that is the way we'll have to live in future. Always try to count out. Where are these 20 lakhs going to work? Anyway, मांगने से मौत मिल जाती तो कौन जीता इस जमाने में. After your this worry, I am in that. But I think you brought out some very, very important and very, very informative points. Cost competitiveness. We are eating away margins. I think that's a wonderful thought. Not many industries look at it. I think Dr. Kumar also said about certification. Lot of companies are only obsessed. I've got a Deming award. I've got a TPM award. I've got Six Sigma these awards. Please look at their EVA. Are they creating worth? Sumanto Ghosh, the late Sumanto Ghosh, wrote a wonderful book. And one wonderful word which has always stuck into mind is satisfactory underperformance. I think with these certificates all around, we are all living with that satisfactory underperformance. But this EVA model must necessarily be looked into, what Deepak has said, if you are really looking at companies going up. Are you talking of creating long-term value of the company or not, is the question he's raised. And the Porsche's story of transformation. I think only one thing we learn. Porsche hasn't got any big certificate these days. The only certificate it created was the business results. Thank you for opening our eyes, Pankaj. Well, Dr. Kumar has always been a difficult speaker for a person like me. I don't understand what is this integration values and Six Sigma values. I do attend his class, but believe me, if he ever took I had to take a test on his behalf, he will never pass me. He is the role model for a lot of people here who are going through this journey through the normal methodology of quality as exposed, as taught to us by lot of our gurus all over. So ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I will request you to join your hands and appreciate the full beautiful presentation. Well, in the vote of thanks, I thank all the participants because if you were not there, nothing would have been here. As your participation will make the summit a success, I believe that this summit will certainly drive you to enhance your efficacy through Lean Six Sigma. I would also like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to BMGI, our knowledge partner, for the support and guidance extending to us at all the earlier summits and these summits. And to our various sponsors, gold sponsor TVM, Palladium sponsor SSA Business Solutions, silver sponsor Minitab, corporate contributor Better Option, PopMart, media partner Janta TV, webcast partner Livestream Pro, and of course, the team of CII. You can't imagine for 1 month how they have been working. And last time I spoke to his office, the girl who picked up, I had to ask, Ajay, is she well? Or has she taken her breakfast or not? He said, why are you feeling like that? I said, I can't hear her. He says, she's working for the summit. The poor girl has gone through, I think this team always does wonderful work. And I would also like to inform you that live coverage of this event is being telecast at your summit website, www.lean6sigma.summit.in. And we took a management decision while sitting there, as we saw that train is running late. We ensured that tea and cookies are served at your table so that we save 10 minutes out of it. May I request now to just have a break for 5 minutes, straighten your legs, and please come back. Thank you very much.